Hey there, aspiring guitarists. I want to spend a little bit of time talking about when you hear me talk about donating a guitar or finding someone um, that is in need of a guitar that otherwise couldn't get one. I want to explain to you why. I put a lot of thought into that, a lot of thought into that. I don't just give away guitars. Um, Sometimes the worst thing you can do is give somebody something free. It can absolutely be the worst thing you can do. So, what I'm going to say here is giving a guitar to a child in need. Well, first you need to find need, but not so fast. Um, I'm going to jump to the bottom down here. There's a MASH episode that came on years ago, and it was centered around Christmas time at the 4077th. And Charles, y'all know Charles Major Winchester. I guess I got his name right. It's been a while. But anyway, he had these really luscious candies and chocolates shipped in from his family. And he explained how they used to give these, they're very expensive from a very, very well known chocolatier. And that his family would give these away, and they had to do it without the family that got them knowing who they came from. Well, that's a good thing. That's that I think that's a great thing to learn to give without seeking praise. Um, but one of the things, the episode really, one of the reasons I always love watching MASH before I went to bed. Um, so he's out in the street and he sees a peddler. He's gone into town and he sees a peddler selling these chocolates. Now, he had given them to the local orphanage. And he was furious. He wanted these to go to the children. So he goes back to the person who was over the orphanage. I don't remember if it was a priest or it was a local Asian person or Korean person or what it was. But he's just furious. And the person that sold it on the black market that he had given them to, who was over the orphanage, told him, he said, yeah, I sold them. I sold them all. He said, rather than give these children a very, very small taste of something extravagant, I was able to buy enough rice to last for 3 months and feed them. So Charles just had a wow moment. And that's the way I approach giving a guitar away. It sounds good, but I'm not doing it to sound good. I never dreamed I'd have this many subscribers. Thank y'all. But we gave away a guitar not too long ago on Facebook in my town, but I wouldn't allow kids to participate. In fact, we set it up where we certainly told them we couldn't enforce it, that it was a name that tune and a random drawing. And we asked that if they weren't going to use the guitar, would they please try to find somebody that would? And that's all we could do. So there's a reason I don't just give away guitars, not without giving some serious thought to it. I know it's popular on YouTube for people to give away a guitar. My last video, I talked about a guitar giveaway expedition. The reason being is because I don't want to ship the guitar. Shipping a guitar is where the problem always lies, always. And that's a whole nother tale in and of itself. So I may come up with something different. I've had a lot of time to think about that to make coming to the channel fun, a little more lively, things like that. And I'm not saying we won't give away a guitar. I came up with an idea about a great guitar expedition to figure out a way through your friends, the 7 degrees of blah, 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 that you could get it to you without it being shipped. So that's a thought. But let me tell you some of the things that I think about. So the first thing I think about if I'm giving a guitar to a child in need, and sometimes someone may come to you. I told you I've got a pastor guitar friend that he and I discuss a lot of this and things we're going to do, and future fretlight. Y'all know how I use the fretlight guitar, of having some presentations to help parents figure out whether or not they can afford to get their child into a guitar and what avenues and what resources they can go. Because I don't give lessons. We might do, come together and give a presentation on an A minor pentatonic scale, but I don't do individual lessons. I teach my granddaughters and grandsons and that's enough for right now. I'm not saying I'll never teach lessons. I love to teach, but you have to think about things when you start wanting to just give a child a guitar. For instance, do they have siblings? So are you going to make a sibling jealous, envious, cause some strife in the family over that? What about time? Okay, are you going to take away from their homework, chores? Is this a one-parent family? And the parent needs them to help, but now they're fooling with a guitar. And I'm not saying there's not a place for a guitar. There is a child that really wants to learn guitar. We'll figure out a way. I did. Be careful. There's an old saying, beware of the naked man that offers you his shirt. Let that sink in a little bit. So anyway, all right, well, what about the additional cost? Strings. What about if something goes wrong with the guitar? Are you fixing to cause some young person grief because their parents doing everything? Groceries are high right now. And a lot of people may go, well, no, I'm not going to argue that. I know that. I know, my children, I'm blessed, are gainfully employed. And one of my sons told me, he said, Dad, I'm making more money than I ever made in my life. And it just seems like I'm spending more money at the grocery store than ever. And my money's just not going anywhere. So I'm not trying to open up that can of worms. I'm saying additional cost. Are you going to force the child and the family into additional costs that maybe they don't need? Recovery, if it breaks. Are you going to break the heart of some kid that by some accident, and most kids do not know how to handle a guitar. They do not. It's one of the reasons that I've always recommend a carbon fiber. If you remember at one of my videos, I talk about my middle son who really did take to the guitar, and my granddaughter who's going on 3. And when she was 2, I bought them all ukuleles. And he actually got her to where she could strum the ukulele. He said it was fantastic. And she was strumming it in time. And then, like all kids, she just walks off, throws the guitar up in the air, and keeps going. And he freaks out. Now, of course, he said something nice to her in a loving manner. It was a carbon fiber ukulele. And he said he picked it up. It was fine. It was still in tune. So all these guitars that I talk about, a beginner guitar for a kid, that's still a family that had to spend the money, which, it's still something you got to think about. If you break an acoustic guitar, depending on what happened, it could be toast. It could be gone. So you got to think about the recovery if it breaks before you give a guitar away to somebody. Transportation. Um, what if this kid starts begging for lessons and the parent can't afford it, but they barely get any sleep as it is? And now they're adding another thing to this. I used to, and this may set some people off, but I used to kind of roll my eyes a little. I wouldn't let another young family see this, but they would talk about how exhausted they were, how their kids were going to piano, going to guitar, going to softball, going to baseball, going to basketball, going to choir, going to this, going to that, going to the other, homework, this, that, the other. And every now and then, if I knew them well enough without prying my nose, I would say, "Are you sure your child wants to do this?" "Oh, of course they do. I asked them." All I'm going to say is this: most children do not want to disappoint their parents when they're young. We could very easily be overloading a family by introducing a guitar and lessons and things like that. Okay, what about the internet? There's kids that live out in rural areas that don't have internet. They have to go to a library. I know that's just beyond many of us to realize that, but I'm in the state of Alabama and we're not backwards. We built the rocket that put the man on the moon. Although, I remember when I worked for the largest PC corporation in the world and was the chief system operator before the World Wide Web of the largest internet forum in the world. We had a bunch of guys from Alabama who were computer experts, and people used to go, "Wow, y'all get computers in Alabama?" I go, "Yeah, we just, we moved the chickens off the monitor and blah, blah, blah." Okay, fun. If that offended you, well, it happened. But my point is, everybody doesn't have internet. A lot of these kids may not be able to afford a lesson. If you're going to give a guitar away, you're going to give them a book too. That's something else to think about. So I'm not going to give a guitar away to a kid, even if it's a me, even if I'm approached by a pastor or a teacher or somebody like that, without having a serious, matter of fact talk. And if I have that talk and we work through all these things, well, I'm happy to do that. I mean, I want kids to enjoy the love of music, the craft of guitar. Maybe they don't want a guitar. Maybe they want a ukulele. I mean, you see my George Harrison's son ukulele back there in between the Fender Acoustonic and the Epiphone. So, I mean, I love a ukulele. It's what I started teaching my grandkids with because I can teach them rhythm. So, but at any rate, I'm going to have a matter of fact talk with the family, the pastor, the music, the music teacher at a school, things like that before I give away a guitar. And then if we get through all that, I'm happy to give away a guitar. I'm happy to get a child, a student, someone who's hungry for that and creativity to learn the beauty of God's creativity with music. So, alternatives. Well, I can't make parents establish rules by any means, but I can warn parents and teachers of the possibilities of what might be a problem. Now, I'm going to, I think I can do this. This is the guitar that I recommend. It's a carbon fiber. Last time I checked, it was $99. Okay, and this is the one y'all saw. I did a video where I put stickers on this. It's an Enya, and you can see I put the notes on there. It's carbon fiber. It's not affected like an acoustic or an electric with humidity. It pretty much stays in tune. It's $99. You could crack some acoustics doing that, especially some of the cheaper ones. I know the argument that comes. Well, it doesn't say you're going to start them off on a bad guitar journey. Well, I don't think so. You've invested $99. This is what I would give away. I have some Epiphone Pro ones. I have some other guitars. The black Epiphone right there over my head next to the ukulele is a very inexpensive yet very, very good dreadnought guitar. That a teenager who's big enough to handle a dreadnought full-size guitar, that is a great guitar. It is a great guitar. It's got tone woods. It's got a playable neck. The action is well on it. It's backed by Epiphone, which, is a partner with Gibson. But some could go wrong with that. Everything from humidity to getting dropped and cracking. And I'm not saying you can't tear up a carbon fiber guitar. And I know the argument for, everybody that doesn't like carbon fiber. Well, it doesn't sound as good as an acoustic. It never will. Look at all these acoustics over here. And I got more of them and up on the wall. I love my acoustics. I started out with an acoustic. As much fun with an electric guitar as I have making sound and coming up with different voicings and tones and playing with amps and things of that nature and trying to get different sounds that intrigue me. I'm always going to be an acoustic guy. I am. Now, this is going to have a ringy tone, but listen to this. This is a fine guitar to start with. It's a lot better than what I started with, a ton better. In fact, Enya makes good products. A lot of people don't like it because it's overseas. But what I have found, and I'm not trying to raise that debate, when I reach out to Enya support through email and have a question, for instance, I got an Enya just the other day that obviously someone had returned and not included the strap. Well, things get repackaged. I emailed Enya. Within a week, they mailed me the strap that was missing. So I've had good experience with Enya. This is not a paid solicitation for Enya by any means. I won't do. I don't do paid solicitations for gear. We did monetize this channel about a month ago. Very, very small price memberships, an Amazon affiliate. And I had lots of people go, well, God, you're hardly going to make anything being an Amazon affiliate. You're giving the links anyway. Why not at least make a tiny amount of money? Well, I haven't made a penny off of it yet. And I'm not going to get rich, but if you want to say that, I understand. I understand people think that everybody's out to get something and has an ulterior motive. I get that. I'm a skeptical person as well. I do think this is a very good guitar if you're going to donate to a child in need. And there are other ones, but I think this is probably the biggest. And remember, it doesn't come with these stickers. I put these stickers on there. There is something to be said if you're going to give or donate a guitar. I'm not telling you not to donate your guitars. If you've got a guitar that's sitting idle and it's never going to be played, by all means, there's guitars for veterans. There's all kind of worthy organization. There's music societies. There's bands talk to a local band director at a school. By all means, donate that guitar. What I'm trying to tell you, when you, I don't ever want to come across like you should be on my channel because I give a guitar away. No, in fact, I put a lot of thought before I give away a guitar, and I've given away guitars. So that was the point of this video, to explain that there's a lot more to it than just giving a kid guitar. And I realize some people are going to write that off and say, "Oh, bull," and that's fine. You know, everybody's got their opinion in this, but remember my MASH episode that I started out with about, and the saying I said, "Beware of the naked man that offers you his shirt." So some people give away things for tax breaks. Some people give away things to draw attention. Some people give away things merely for marketing. Some people give away things to make themselves feel good. And there's nothing wrong with that. Taking care of people that are impoverished and things like that is a wonderful thing. I would encourage you to think beyond just giving a kid a guitar. Resist the urge to in front of a parent without asking the parent. Have the talk with the parent. Respect the parent. Respect the parent. I have a guitar I'm no longer using. I was thinking about seeing if you wanted to give it to your kids, but here's some things to think about. So, as much as I do this to help further a guitar journey, I don't want to ruin a guitar journey. I don't want to ruin a family. I want to put thought into it. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope your guitar journey is blessed, and most of all, happy picking.